Welcome to Best Life Ever, the podcast with your hosts, time and energy coaches, Kimi and Pua. And we are so excited to share with you that today's episode is brought to you by Best Life Ever Fix. This is our monthly subscription for badass individuals who are ready to work smarter, not harder, to reach your goals. So our mission is really to help you to improve your overall performance, have more fun, create a schedule and life that you love. So jump on board, see what it's all about. You can start with a 7-day trial, and you can access that by just going to kimiandpua.com/BLEFIX and come and see what the fix is all about.
Yep. We love the fix. Hope to see you guys there. And we are so excited to share a really cool interview with you guys today. So this episode features Daynin Dashefsky, and we know Daynin. She actually was teaching a couple of women's jiu-jitsu classes at Grappling Unlimited where we train, and that's where we met her. And shortly after, she was there for a little while teaching classes, and then she opened her very own school. She shares a lot about that journey in her interview today. But Daynin is currently a 4-stripe brown belt and aspires to build a school where people can learn the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a way of life, not a way to fight. So Daynin owns Impact Kahala Jiu-Jitsu, and it's been thriving now for 3 years and currently has a student base of 200 students. And we're super stoked for her. She just opened her second location in Honolulu in June of 2017, so this month.
Daynin is also the founder of Hawaii Seminars and Workshops and Hawaii Biz Kids, where she teaches kids ages 7 to 15 about the process of starting and running their own businesses. As an inventor, Daynin has brought many products to the market, both internationally and nationally. Her entrepreneurial focus is now geared towards inventing creative products for the BJJ industry, like her newest jiu-jitsu game called Think Jiu-Jitsu, which was designed for instructors to use with their students to make learning and training more fun, exciting, and challenging. So we're going to hear her share a little bit more about that. And we also just wanted to say a big shout out to our tribe member, Gretel, who gave us the suggestion to interview Daynin. And we're so grateful for this wonderful idea. It was like talking with a real life superhero. So thank you so much, Gretel. And thank you to our tribe. We love you guys so much. Definitely, if you enjoy this interview as much as we did, drop us an iTunes review and also join us in our Facebook tribe, Best Life Ever, the tribe, and share with us who other suggestions for people you'd love to hear on the podcast. So without further ado, here is our interview with Daynin. Welcome, Daynin. So nice to have you with us today. We are so excited to talk with you, and really we just want to dive right in and really hear in your words how your jiu-jitsu journey began. We are so inspired by you and all that you do, and we would just really love to hear how that started for you and how you found jiu-jitsu.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm inspired by you guys, and I'm really honored to be here because you guys just, I just love your energy, and I'm really honored that you invited me on the show. As far as the jiu-jitsu, it's really interesting because I went through a divorce, and my confidence was so low. I just felt like, here I am, a single mom. My daughters were 1 and 3 years old, and I took them to a dance class in Aikahi Park, and right next door they were doing jiu-jitsu. It was Gracie Kailua. And while they were doing dance, I was watching this jiu-jitsu class, and there was no women, of course, way back then. And so I said, I always wanted to learn self-defense, but I never knew what kind. So, there's all these different arts. It's like, which one is which? I don't know. So I never did, but I kind of watched, and I saw them rolling around. And I thought, after talking to the instructor, Jason, for a while, I said, if I'm going to learn self-defense, most likely I'm going to be attacked by a man. So I better learn how to train with men because there was no women in there. And I was like, oh, better not, And then I realized that if I'm going to get attacked, most likely I'm going to end on the ground. So I better know how to survive on the ground. And I thought because I was an entrepreneur and I had my own businesses, I had so little time that I decided that, while my daughters were in dance class, I could be doing the jiu-jitsu. So I wasn't really taking up any time rather than sitting around waiting for them. So that's how I started. So I started from the self-defense aspect and got totally addicted, like most people, right? And I just couldn't get enough of it. It was so empowering and it was so technical, and it worked my brain and my body. And it just took off, and I just, went from there. So from there, I trained with Jason for 7 years. And then I moved to Kahala, and my time schedule, being a single mom with kids, I couldn't make the classes all the time. So I moved over with his permission to Hawaii Kai Jiu-Jitsu under Ron Huxon. And then I was there for 7 years, and went to the mainland, took a break, traveled, trained up there. And then I came back, and that's when I opened up my first school, Kahala Jiu-Jitsu. So kind of took off from there,
Totally. We are just so amazed by you. And we've trained with you a couple of times, and we've taken classes with you a couple of times when you visited Grappling Unlimited, and you are just amazing. You are super technical. Like, it's like being hugged by a giant like boa constrictor when we roll with you, because it's just like, you're like, oh, I'm in a Daynin hug. Oh my God, I can't breathe. Oh my God. Right?
Oh my God, Dad.
It's like
years of muscle memory.
You're the most like loving, gentle, badass, like
snug
it's
hugs,
just all the things, right? Yeah, it's like jiu-jitsu hug, like the most loving choke ever, But you are
with a smile.
Yeah, exactly. You're always smiling too. It's so awesome. But we're just so drawn to your just everything, right? You're such a strong female, and you are entrepreneurial, which is so wonderful, and you do it all with a smile on your face. And, as you said, you leverage your time and energy to fit whatever's going on. You didn't let life get in the way of something you wanted to do. And now you've brought your dream to life. I remember you talking about wanting to open your gym for a long time. Right. And we're inspired, and we're so proud of you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah. When I went through this phase, and, when I went to the main, it's like I'm going to say this for the first time you guys are going to get the exclusive. I'm going to first time announce this for the first time. So you're going to get a kind of gist of my age. But when I turned 50, I decided, I'm going to the mainland for a year, and I'm going to take that year's my birthday present to myself was, this is my year for me. I've been a mom. I've been an entrepreneur. I've taken care of everybody all my life. I'm going to go to the mainland and figure out what I want to do with the next half of my life. And it was when I was up there that I realized I didn't want to be in the mainland where I was a little fish in a big pond, but I could come back to Hawaii and be a big fish in a little pond and make a difference here, especially with the youth. So when I came back, I decided I'm going to live life on my terms and do what I want and what I love, not what everybody thinks I should do because I'm good at it or what everybody wants me to do. But this next half of my life is for me. And I decided to do two things I loved. One was teach jiu-jitsu, and one was inspire people in motivational speaking. Because before that, I was a motivational speaker. I worked with inventors, entrepreneurs, but I wanted to focus on the kids because they're our future. And a lot of the kids they either go away to college because there's no opportunities here, or a lot of kids never leave here because they don't know any better. They don't know anything else. So I wanted to kind of open up their minds and make them think. So that's when I came back, opened up my school, and then decided through my school to do Hawaii Biz Kids and create all these programs to help inspire kids and change their mind, their thought process. So by changing it one little degree, it could change the whole outcome of their future. So that's what inspired me. And that from there, everything, I guess I'm doing what I meant to do because it keeps going. And I've gotten to a point where I'm doing really well. I'm on overload. But you realize that when you do what you love, you don't feel like it's all work. You don't feel like you're on overload, even though you are. But you do it because you love it. And that's the main message is do what you love, because then it doesn't drain you. It energizes you. It empowers you. It strengthens you, right? And that's why I'm so excited when you guys did your show, because you guys are so good at it.
Wow. That is like the best life ever mission right there. Like that's the definition of living your best life ever, is really following your joy and following what feels right for you. And yeah, when you live in that way, it is energizing. And wow, that is so amazing. I remember the first time we rolled together and you told me, this is years ago, and you said, jiu-jitsu will keep you young. And my gosh, you are so right. You are just ageless, and your energy.
inside. I may look younger outside. I'm 85 inside.
We're so, I've heard you speak before about the mission, your sort of jiu-jitsu philosophy and the mission that you built your school based on. Can you share a little bit more about what your mission is at Kahala Jiu-Jitsu and beyond?
Yeah. When I opened my school, I was really scared. I was still a brown belt, and there's so much good jiu-jitsu in Hawaii. There's so many championship schools and schools that are creating championships. And I'm like, where do I fit in? How do I compete? Who am I to open up a school? And I decided that I had to stick with who I am and my mission and not try to become what everybody else wants me to be. And so I created a tagline which says it all. And it says, we are not a fight school, we're a life school. And so my whole focus is we do very much teach jiu-jitsu, and we teach technically, and our students do win tournaments, a lot more than I thought, but it's kind of fun. But they come from a different philosophy, and it's about staying calm and being relaxed, because when you're in that state, you can think and you can problem solve. So we try to take jiu-jitsu and we try to apply it to how we use that in life. How do we use jiu-jitsu to make us and excel in life? How do we use it to make us be more patient with our kids or our families, instead of just jumping and being impulsive and react? Take a deep breath and then now problem solve it out. How do we make it inspire us at work? How do we, show that in work that we're the little guy, but we can still overpower and subdue the big guy in business if we use timing, technique, and leverage, which means, what are our strengths and what are their weaknesses, and think of it that way. So we try to use it, jiu-jitsu, we don't want to create just champions in jiu-jitsu. We want to create champions in life. It's much more broader. It's much more practical. It's much more beneficial. And the results have been a really a fast-growing school, which we're really excited about.
Wow. Like Wonder Woman.
Chicken skin, I know.
Right? Like, wow. It's just so cool, the parallels that you draw between jiu-jitsu and life, and, being a business owner and jiu-jitsu, right? And you've seen it all. You've experienced the fears, and as fellow entrepreneurs, like, we know that it's a scary thing to open your own business and be responsible for your own everything, right? Mm-hmm. And to empower kids at such a young age to know that that's not only not as scary as they may think as a tournament might be, right? But it's also totally possible. Like, that is such a wonderful, powerful service that you provide for our keiki and our community. I'm wondering if you can share a little bit more about the different kids programs that you guys have there, because we saw some kids earlier.
Yes. Well, we do have a lot of kids, and my whole mindset is it's about the kids. They're the future, and you got to start them young. So we create a lot of programs. Whenever there's a school break, whether it's winter, spring, or summer, we have programs. And as a business person, these programs feed our jiu-jitsu program, and our jiu-jitsu programs feeds these programs. And so some of the programs are Hawaii Biz Kids. We teach kids from 7 to 14 years old how to run and start their own businesses. So that being the theme, every single program that I do, we start the first hour with jiu-jitsu. So, anytime you do something physically before you learn, it's been scientifically proven that you retain the information more. So we teach them self-defense and jiu-jitsu. So most of the kids that come to the program never did it before. So they absolutely love it. So whether it's a survival program, we do our Hawaii Biz Kids, teaching them how to run businesses. We do our survival program, which teaches them things and skills you should know by the time you go out into college or you leave the house and go live on your own, like cooking, cleaning, sewing, how to deal with relationships and the differences between relationships. We teach them about time management. We teach them about internet safety. So all of these different things, we teach them in a fun way so that they retain it and learn it. I mean, when I did the survival class, it was fun because one of the favorite things they did was cleaning toilets. Who would ever thought? Right? They love cleaning toilets after they were.
Oh, give them my number.
Then we do a Bjj Camp for kids who want to take their jiu-jitsu to the next level. And, they can learn jiu-jitsu at their own schools. That's not what they're here to learn. What they learn is they learn how to referee. They learn how to count points. They learn how to run their own tournaments and do weigh-ins. They learn how to teach. So they each get an opportunity to teach. So that way, when they go back to their schools, they become a better student. And they become more focused and more driven. And that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to excel that out to other schools. So helping them by giving them another way of looking at jiu-jitsu. And then this week we have our field trip camp, which every day they go on a field trip and they have no idea where they're going to go. They just have to be prepared, and they find out when we get there. And the idea is kids a lot of times will create things in their minds. Like when the parent says, oh, we're going to go do this, and go, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You know, it's going to be junk. And they create all this stuff before they even have a chance. So, and we're trying to teach them that you never know, it might be fun. So we're trying to get their to change their way of thinking and their mindset and their patience. And rather than try to imagine all this stuff that doesn't exist, that's not real, you know, just be patient and learn to be accepting and just enjoy the process. So these field trips are designed to do that. So yesterday they went to the police station and they got to do all kinds of things over there. They got fingerprinted. They got stuck in the jail. They drove in the car and played with all the stuff. They got to swing, you know, put the handcuffs on and put the life or the vest on. So they did all this kind of fun stuff. And then today they don't know it because they're outside. But after this interview, they go to Channel 2 News and they're going to be getting a tour of the news station. So, you know, we got all kind of little fun things. Another day we're going to go to Arizona Memorial. And so every day is something different. So
my God. Can I sign up for your next
round? I was just going to say. Wow, that's so great. Yeah, I mean, right? Even adults need this too. Like how many of us, you know, we put
all the time. It's just their schedules, right? Adults are so busy. Right. Focus on the kids. Adults want to do so much, but life gets in the way and there's always an excuse why they can't. Whereas kids, you get them when they're young and they're hungry and their minds are like sponges, it will stay with them the rest of their life. You know, one little mindset, one little change, one little thought process change your whole future because they have such a long time to have it change the degrees to where it's a big difference in the end rather than a little one. So.
Wow. So cool. Wow. Well, you are just amazing. You clearly have so much energy and have many things going on. And I think it would be so fascinating. We'd love to hear what you do to take care of yourself and manage your own energy throughout the day.
You know, I like summer times are my craziest time because I work 15-hour days and every day and I don't have a day off. And I just opened my second school. So I pretty much don't have a life. But there is one thing that I do for myself. And I'll have to say, and I get to do it maybe once, maybe twice a month, but I go to Korean bathhouses.
That's great.
I get massages and I get scrubs and I physically have to relax my body. That's what I do to kind of wind me down and kind of let go of it all for just a little while before it all comes back. And so that's kind of what I do. But you know, that and cleaning, believe it or not, cleaning is relaxing for me. It relieves my stress. So I'm one of these people that organizes and cleans. So if I'm stressed out, I'll go in the yard and work in the yard, or I'll mow and cut grass or weeds, or I'll go in the house and clean and organize. So that's kind of my thing. But I don't have much of that. So I'm working towards it, though.
I love that.
Spirit. Cleaning is like.
That's why I'm paying my dues now, right? So I can do that later.
More cleaning, right? Do more cleaning later.
Exactly.
Just kidding. That's so awesome. Korean baths are no joke. That is the best thing ever. That is so awesome. Well, this is like a dream come true. We actually had somebody request you as a guest on our podcast, believe it or not.
How nice.
I know, right? And it's just, you're so, it's, how do I say this? Your demeanor is so calm and collected that people wouldn't know how much you do and how much you fit into a day and how much change you inspire in the world just by doing what you do. And it's so true. I mean, your school, I remember when you first opened your school and it was the day you opened it, you had people knocking at your door. And in an industry, I don't know if jiu-jitsu is an industry, in a sport, I guess, where it is, right?
Yeah.
It's fairly male dominated still, I would venture to say. It's definitely getting better. There's a lot of women's classes now, but you know, there aren't a whole lot of women jiu-jitsu school owners, right?
Well, I'm the first and only female-owned school in Hawaii. And I didn't realize it until I was talking to some other people. Even nationwide, there's not that many that are women-owned. They may be husband and wife, but just a woman owns it and runs it. Very, very few. Yeah.
Totally. And that's really inspirational, not just for women, but for anyone who feels like they, as you said, like, who am I to open a gym, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's a very real fear, and a very common limiting belief for people, no matter what they're doing, right? Who am I to start a business? Who am I to have a restaurant? All these things. And to hear you and your experience in doing it anyway, it's really cool. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit about how you kind of worked through those fears and did it.
When I first opened, I was really, like I said, I was really nervous and scared. And Hoist Gracie, believe it or not, gave me the best address, because I was calling him and I was saying, these people are calling me and they think and I just kind of went crazy. And he told me, forget about what everybody else is saying. Forget about what everybody else wants you to do. They don't pay your bills. They don't have anything to say about your life, and they're not involved in it. Says, focus on your school, focus on your students, and just do good jiu-jitsu. If you do that, they will come. And so that's what I did. I forgot what everybody else is doing. I stopped trying to compare myself to everybody else. And I just was who I was. And I just focused on my school and what I wanted to do. And it just started snowballing from there. I stopped worrying and started doing, and just it evolved from there. So I think our first year we had 100 students. And we're in our third year and we're at 200 students. And we're talking active students training. And of course, a majority of them are kids from teens. But it really, I think working with kids is just been so rewarding. And so we get a lot of the families and a lot of the moms and the dads and the professionals. And we've really evolved. Our adult program has actually grown quite a bit. We're at 40 adults now. So it's really been really interesting. But I think for me, what the feedback I get from my students is that the technicality of how I teach, I don't have the strength of a man. I don't have the youth of, the average person to have strength and stamina and skill. So I can't train like that. So as a woman coming up in jiu-jitsu, when there wasn't any women and you're dealing with strong and aggressive and heavy men, you have no choice but to be technical. So you have to survive being technical because you can't match up. Whereas men, their instinctive survival instincts uses strength and power. So a lot of times they rely on that first rather than technique. The technique's there, but the strength and the power are what they rely on. So with women, we can't. So by learning from a woman, you tend to learn a lot more technically in the beginning, and then the strength and power comes later as you come, muscle memory kicks in and years of training. But I think that's why people like to come here, is because of the technical aspect of how I teach and the understanding of the body and the physics and so forth. So I think that's where my specialty lies. And again, I really emphasize matching up and, really learning to stay calm, because when you're calm, you can think. If you try to win every time, or try to beat everybody every time, your focus isn't on problem solving, it's on winning, or it's on beating somebody. So my mindset I try to teach my people is always be in the moment. Where is the obstacle? What's in your way? What's stopping you from getting what you want? Remove that obstacle. Then you remove the next one. Then you remove the next one, and just focus. And if you can think and know what their obstacles are, you're so aware of your jiu-jitsu, you'll learn technically much faster. So I guess people who appreciate that kind of teaching, they come to me.
It's another great metaphor for life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It all relates. It all relates.
Totally.
Right?
And for small people, Kibby and I are very small.
Yeah.
That style.
Technical. You have to.
And
I
kids,
wrote with
right?
both of you, and people will be amazed, especially in jiu-jitsu. You get someone, they look at you and they think you're small, but once they roll with you, oh my God, they're powerful, right? And you guys are like super strong. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? And that's the one thing that's so exciting about jiu-jitsu. You can never underestimate anybody. I went with a girl once who was tiny. She was 18 years old. She looked like a little girl with freckles. And I had no idea she was a world champion. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to be gentle with this little girl. And oh my God, she tore me up. I was like, I can't underestimate anybody.
I love that. My mom always told me growing up, she said, it's good to be underestimated, she's like a, petite Asian woman. And she, in the corporate world, she always said to me, I think about that often, where she says, you know what, it's good to be underestimated. And so in your spare time, by the way, you also have developed a product, and we would love to have you share with us a little bit about Think Jiu-Jitsu, which sounds so fascinating. I mean, talk about a unique and different way to teach Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, so cool. So can you share with us a little bit about that?
I kind of worked on that for almost 2 years, and it was developed, or the brainchild came from me teaching my students. And everybody wants to use, muscle memory, and they want to use their power. And I'm trying to say, think about what you're doing. Think about what you're doing. And it's so funny because the name Think Jiu-Jitsu came from the movie. I don't know if you remember the George Byrne movie way back when. I forgot the name of it, but it's where he was God, and he had to people were getting away from God. And so he got this little girl. He says, you're in charge of making people come back to me. And she didn't know how to do it. And she came up with a campaign that said, Think God. And that's all she did. And they got huge. So that was the movie. So I thought, Think Jiu-Jitsu, right? The concept is, when we're a white belt and we come in, there's two ways we learn. We learn by intelligence, what we see with our eyes, right? We're trying to intellectualize everything and understand it so we can repeat it later. And then with our muscles, we learn through what we feel. It doesn't have intelligence like our brain, but it will remember what it feels and it'll respond based on what it feels. Eventually, that muscle memory gets so great, it has an intelligence of its own. So that's why advanced belts, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this, where you're rolling and all of a sudden your body does something and it was so cool and you have no idea what you did, right? So it's like it takes over, and that's your muscle memory. So the Think Jiu-Jitsu concept is, when you're white belt, you're on brain overload because you have no muscle memory. So you're constantly thinking and you're trying to absorb everything you're learning, and you get brain load. But the higher up you go, you develop more muscle memory and you use less brain, less thinking. So by the time you get to a higher belt, unless you're a teacher, everything you rely on is muscle memory and just your instinct, because you know how to roll. You stop thinking about it. You stop growing because you don't take it into depth. So the game itself is a whole bunch of games in one, and they force you to think about what you're doing. Think about the challenge. Think about the step. So you'll shuffle the cards and you'll get a combination of a challenge, and it'll be a challenge that you would never do in class. Like it may say, do a judo throw takedown, and the next move is transition to a Delihiba sweep. And it's like, wait a minute. So it doesn't matter. You have to get from A to B, and you break up into groups, and you have to think of the most technical, fastest way to get from there to there. And you can also bait, so you can do it on offense or defense. So if you're going to bait someone to put them in that so you can get the move, you have to learn how to bait, and you have to explain why you're baiting them and why you think they're going to do this. So it's just, there's a whole bunch of games, but that one particularly is really geared towards really understanding and thinking of why you're doing what you're doing. And it forces you to do things very unorthodox. So it's kind of fun.
That is so cool.
So cool.
It kind of reminds me of a language, right? Like there's a point where when you learn a new language and you're always translating it to English in your head. And then there's a point where you stop translating it, or you dream in the language, right? And that's a sign. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. So, it just forces you to, and the thing I get a kick out of it is because upper belts, brown, black belts, purple belts, they have more knowledge, they have more creativity, but they're so used to years and years and years of realizing this is the way you're supposed to train. If I do this move, these are your options. Well, you're given an option that no one ever told you exists, and now you're forced to figure it out. So the people who get challenged the most and have the most fun are the upper belts, because they have such a wide range, but they have too much muscle memory of doing it a certain way. It's like they got to break that and force themselves to think differently. So they have a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
Can we buy this? Is this for sale?
Yeah, we have it on our website at thinkjujitsugame.com. You guys can come to me direct and get it, but and then later on we'll have it on Amazon. So we're just getting out. Right now, summertime, all my programs are in, so our big promotion and marketing goes out after summer. So, but we do have it. Yeah.
Very cool. And so do you play it as a school regularly?
Absolutely. I thought after a while they'd get bored of it. We bring it out a couple times a month.
Cool.
It's a tool for teachers to use with their students, because there's submission challenges. There's all kinds of ways to play one game. So there's a dozen or so games we show you, and then you it's like a deck of cards, right? You can create whatever game you want with them. And that's the concept. But every time we bring the game out, they get really excited and they're ready to challenge, and they break up into teams. And it's like, we're going to do this. You're using our move. And the best part of it is the camaraderie that happens within the school. It shakes the regular training up and it mixes up and becomes competitive, and everybody gets excited and has fun. And so it's really, really nice to see.
Wow. Wow, Daynin, you're like a real life superhero, you know?
I know, you're totally Wonder Woman.
It's so cool to listen to all the interesting ways. I mean, you clearly love what you do, and that just comes through in everything that you do. And I just can feel that you're always thinking about ways to help your students. Yes. I love it. Well, we have one final question for you that we love to ask our guests, and that is, can you share with us something that nobody knows about you?
Something nobody knows about
me.
Where the average person doesn't know about
me? Maybe the average person.
Average people don't listen to our podcast. I'm just kidding.
Well, some people know this about me, but not very many people know this about me. In 1989-90, I was Miss Philippines America. So I came to the Philippines and represented America and had a lot of amazing experiences there. And, I won the crown in Atlanta. So I represented Hawaii, and that was kind of a fun event. But yeah,
that's cool. That's great.
I don't know if everything else I could put online.
We'll do a separate podcast for all of those.
Exactly. Yeah. Like what do they call it? The internet, the black internet.
The underground.
That's right. Well, where can people find out more about you? What's the best place for people to connect with you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on YouTube. I got a lot of videos up there. Our website, KahalaJiu-Jitsu.com, or HawaiiBizKids.com. I'm kind of like everywhere. If you Google my name, something will come up, But, it's one thing I would like to let people know, because you are about inspiration and motivation, and all of that exists. And it's true. We want to be empowered, but the one thing people don't realize is, with all the success and all that I do, it's because I work hard. You want something bad enough, you can't just be inspired and expect it to happen. You have to be inspired enough to be willing to work hard. And if you have to work hard and you have to be committed to it, if you don't love it and you're not excited, you're not passionate about it, it's not going to work. So that's what I'm saying, is having the empowerment and the motivation is really great, but use it where it's going to be the most beneficial. Use it with something you love to do. Don't try to get inspired about something you're not excited about, because you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have things that get in your way. You're going to have obstacles. And if you don't love it, you're not going to have the energy to fight through those to get successful, to get better. So you have to be willing to work hard. It's just that when you love it, it doesn't seem like work. But it is a lot of time and energy. So those are things people need to think about, because all this doesn't just come by smiling and being a good person. You have to work for it, just like you guys working hard, doing your show. You got to get up, you got to find people, you got to interview them, you got to set it up. You don't just pop on TV and smile and interview people. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. So people need to understand that. You got to be willing to do the work.
Totally.
So true. Gosh, we feel you on that one. It's such a great energy hack and tip, It's like, if you want more time and energy, love what you do, because it will give you that energy that you need, because it does.
It's going to push you through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Love it. Well, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much for taking this time. And we'll be sure to include all the notes and where people can find you in the show notes there. And I want to come and play with you.
I wish you would. Please do.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to play. Next time we play the game, I'll let you know, and you guys can come over.
Sounds good. All right. Well, have a wonderful time, and give all those kids a big hug from us.
I will. They're all out there waiting patiently. Thank you so much for having me. Love you guys. Love what you do, and love what you represent. And it makes my heart feel good that there's women out there doing the same thing that I'm trying to do, and just keep going. Pass it on, right? Pay it forward, as they say. So Thank you.
Thanks, Daynin. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.